Hey, what's good guys? This is Chris from WearTesters.com. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we are ranking, performance-wise, the Nike KD series. Just the signatures, not any of the team shoes, no KD Tray 5s or whatever else might be out there, no Elite series, none of that stuff. Simply put, just the 1 through 12. So with that being said, and just for everybody's information, this is just based off of my personal experiences, if you will. So I have played in every single KD model except for the 1 and the 2. I have owned every KD model except for the 2. So that's what it is. It's not based off of really aesthetics other than the 1 and the 2, I will say, because those are the 2 that I haven't played in. But this is just my personal list. If you have a different list, then feel free to drop it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your list. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start with the worst, at least in my opinion, KD signature shoe.
The worst, according to you, is the KD11.
The KD11, the one with the most promise. That shoe, when it was first unveiled, not only was the campaign for it awesome, they were like dribbling the shoe because it was so bouncy due to the React foam and all that stuff, but I was like super just like intrigued by Flyknit, $150, full length React, full length Zoom. In your mind, it sounds amazing. And then on foot, it was garbage. I don't know, man, they were super comfortable, but that was the only thing good about them. Now, the thing that I did not like about the KD11 most, because there's multiple things, but the one thing that I really didn't like that made it just virtually unplayable for me was the stability, mainly because of the Flyknit. The Flyknit and the shoe was just super stretchy, which feels amazing just from a comfort standpoint, but for a basketball standpoint, you need a little bit more rigidness in the uppers for you know, some containment and all that stuff. So that was my main problem with them. I've had other people send me in multiple pictures, like multiple different people, where the heel, which luckily never happened to me, but the heel has been eating people's Achilles alive. It's just insane.
And at 11, the KD10.
That was another shoe where I was like, man, I'm excited because, well, I'm not gonna give it away, but the KD10 looked just amazing. It was coming off of the KD9, which was a good shoe, and I felt that a lot of the tech specs that they used that were awesome in the KD9 were moved over to the 10, which is a good thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it type of attitude. But the shoe, for whatever reason, just didn't work for me. I had 2 different pairs of those, 2 different sizes. None of them really gave me the fit that I was looking for. The smaller of the 2 sizes was the best fitting as far as length was concerned, but I couldn't get the lockdown with the lacing system because it went underneath your feet to really like kind of like cup my foot in there and all that stuff. What I ended up doing is pushing those nylon threads into my arches and everything and ripping those up. So I thought that that was a bummer. It did have full length zoom, like max zoom, not just like internal zoom or anything, but actual visible exposed zoom air. That was probably the best thing, and the way that it looked. Those were the 2 main features that I thought were great on the shoe, along with the price point. The price point has been solid for the last few years. But yeah, the KD10, not quite as disappointing as the 11, but pretty close.
At number 10, the KD4.
This one, this was a shoe. I had this on the bottom. This was number 12 when I was first making the list, but then I remembered, because I must have forgotten about the KD11. I must have been like, no, that shoe sucked so bad, they didn't exist. And so then when I thought about the KD11, I was like, there's no way the KD4 is worse than those. So it bumped the KD4 up. And then the KD10 came along and I was like, there's no way that these are worse than those. So it bumped it up again, but it made its way into the number 10 spot because this is a fan favorite of the KD line. A lot of people love the KD4. I don't know what it is they love about it. I don't know if it was the $95 price point, the colorways, which were awesome, the overall aesthetics of the shoe, which they looked okay, but it was the Hyperfuse era, and the shoe's shape was like, it was not a foot shape. I don't know whose shape that was. That was the hockey stick foot. You know how hockey sticks, like they're straight and then all of a sudden they go that way? That's what the shoe felt like. And it was just like, my foot's not shaped like that. And it was the pinky toe killer. It was amazing in a bad way, like not like a good way. Those things were cool though, just because they had incredible traction. Like it didn't look like it would be great, but it had really good traction. The cushion didn't feel like anything, honestly. Like they felt like crap. I remember popping mine, my Zoom bag. It was a 4-foot Zoom unit. I popped them looking for it. And it was on the OKC colorway, the black ones with the blue strap. Those were fresh. I gotta say, I do miss seeing his shoes in those colors because I don't know why. I just think that's his team, even though it's not.
At number 9, we have the KD1. Why didn't you wear test those?
So the story with the KD1 was I had gotten a couple pairs it was like 2 or 3 pairs of samples. At the time that I got those, I think they were on the KD2 already, and so I just never ended up doing anything with them. They just remained brand new forever. Like some of the colors that I had too, like never even released. There was like one that was like, I can't remember what it was, but it was like black on one side, white on the other, because it was one of those shoes that was split down the middle. It was interesting. It was a shoe with 4-foot Zoom Air. It wasn't like a really crazy shoe. I remember it having like a kind of like a cup sole. The materials were a little cheap, but again, it was like an affordable shoe, and which I thought was great at the time, especially for a signature shoe that was still kind of like a newer concept, was to have a signature be kind of budget. You know what I'm saying? Because like back in the day when I was growing up, like even the lesser priced signatures, like a Gary Payton shoe, is about 110 bucks. That's kind of expensive. So these next 2 slots, because the next one is, what number are we at?
Number 8 will be the KD2.
So yeah, so the KD1 and 2, I've placed those based off of aesthetics alone. So I think that they look better than the previous models, and the previous models suck so bad performance-wise, so that's why they're way down there. I don't feel like these two deserve that. I thought that the KD1s looked cool, but then moving on to the KD2, which is the next one on the list, those guys involved the strap for the first time, and it was really cool to see. Even though the strap is a midfoot strap, which are kind of useless, but it was a cool looking sneaker. Again, I think those were like 90 bucks, 95, something like that. 4-foot Zoom again. Never played in them, never even bought one. That's the one KD. I've owned all of them except for this one. I wouldn't say that I regret it, but it is one of those things where I wish that I would have at least just tried them out. Like it's one of those things where you pass on it and then you kind of regret it a little bit, because you're just like, I at the very least try them on to see what they felt like, but I never ended up doing that.
At number 7, we have the KD8.
That was an interesting shoe. It was like really weird shaped, like all of it. It was bulky on the bottom, it extended in the back. It was an interesting sneaker. The upper was dope. The tongue though had that thing where like it's kind of like attached at the midfoot, so it pinched a little bit. The Zoom bag, it was a normal size Zoom bag as far as thickness goes, but it ran full length and then they articulated it. And that was the time when I had reviewed the LeBron 10, which had a max zoom unit. And I thought that those were great, but I thought they were a little unstable and a little stiff. And so I had drawn up my own kind of like render of like, oh, this would have been cool if this is what they did. And then that zoom unit, coincidentally, maybe, I don't know, but the zoom unit in the KD8 though was literally a mirror image of what I drew. And like, I was kind of like, what the fuck? Like what? Like what? You know what I mean? Like I was kind of like, I was a little hurt by that. I don't know, like it was just one of those things where like you feel almost validated as far as like what you do in the space that you work in, but at the same time it was kind of like I got ripped off also. My version of the shoe, or of the cushion I mean, was actually for max zoom though. It was for the really thick stuff that you see on like the LeBrons and the KDs. It was not for the thin one, so I thought it was weird that they made it a thin bag. You know, it is what it is. I thought that the shoe was okay overall. It wasn't great. That was one of the, I think it was the last highest priced KD sneaker. I think it was 175, something like that. That shoe was just okay, but that zoom unit thing, I'm still salty. Like,
At number 6, the KD3.
I actually have those right here. And these guys right here are dope. This was a Nordstrom rack find for me. So I got these for like 40 bucks, 50 bucks, something like that. Colorway right here is trash, but there are plenty of dope colorways. And this was one of the shoes that I thought was really neat because it gave you a little bit of everything. The materials on these guys, actual leather, and it's actually nice. It's not super premium or anything. It's not the softest material, but it at least feels good, especially once you break it in. You got that first gen fly wire right here at the little weird 4-foot thing. I love this guy. I love these things. Even though it doesn't do much, but I just think it's cool. On top of that, the back area right there, little PlayStation buttons, which, you know, Katie is a gamer. So I thought that it was one of those shoes that not only played well, but did the whole storytelling thing really clean. It wasn't like the next models when they did the peanut butter and jelly, the infamous peanut butter and jelly shoe. But these guys were pretty beastly though. The traction on these were money. The cushion's okay. I remember this part though. This rubber right here really cups the heel, so it's super clunky in the back. These joints feel mad heavy, even though they're not that heavy. So it's a good shoe. It's just not one of the best, but overall, especially at the time, not a bad buy right here.
At number 5, the KD6.
The KD6 is an interesting shoe. And speaking of peanut butter and jelly, that was the one right there. That was, the colorway wasn't bad. It was just a dumb way to tell a story. And on top of that, it's like why would you tell that story? Like there's so many cool stories in the world, but like you don't ever see like blockbuster motion pictures of like the man who made top ramen. Because that's a cool story. Cool story, bro? No?
No.
You don't think that would be a cool story? how somebody figured out how to dry noodles and make them instant for college students everywhere and broke people everywhere? You don't think that's interesting? But yet somehow peanut butter and jelly is interesting?
Well, that's a reason why it's not like an Aunt Pearl colorway. They're not still making it.
Yes, I know, because they finally realized it's dumb. The shoe was good though. The shoe was good. They were super comfortable, had a 4-foot Zoom Air rear air unit if I remember correctly. The upper though, the upper was garbage, man. Like it had this weird tongue, folding tongue, and it like went crooked. It like went up this way. It was like a rain boot sneaker.
At number 4, the KD5.
The KD5, another shoe I have right over here. I have my Nike ID version. These, again, this is towards the kind of the end of the Fuse era. Still fusey everywhere, but they were still doing like well with it. It does have its performance benefits, I will say, like this Fuse material lasts, you know what I mean? It's not gonna break down on you or anything like that. It's literally just plastic. It's gonna stay here forever. The glue keeping the midsole onto the upper is gonna fail before the upper actually does. So it has its benefits and all that stuff. It doesn't stretch like a knit would, but it doesn't look cool, doesn't feel good, all that stuff. But this is a solid sneaker right here. Again, the 4-foot Zoom, the heel air unit. This colorway, I gotta say, is beautiful. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm kind of biased, but the traction on these things were so money, by the way. Like, I was playing League at the time, and like, man, we played on some real floors. This traction held up all the time, dude. Like, these were fantastic. I think the pair that I played in the most was the DMV ones, those bright orange ones with the neon. But like, my 4-foot Zoom bag popped, but they were still comfortable, so I would wear them, but I could hear it every time I moved. It would go tss, tss.
Finally, in your top 3.
Top 3. These are the cream of the crop. These are the best of the best.
The KD9.
The KD9. I also have those right here. This is another Nike ID. This is when KD became a snake. I wish I brought my little snake. That would have been funny to pull out of the box again. Man, what the hell? That was a dope intro. That was cool. Mrs. Wing made that snake, by the way. This was the first shoe that they dropped the price. Like, we were all surprised.
You
like,
became a warrior.
no, that's not why. But like, we were all surprised though, because like Nike was just like, they were taxing people, man, with the elite stuff. You know what I mean? There was an elite shoe of this, and I think it was priced a little bit more than these, but not by much. But this was also the last where there was an elite version. There was a KD9 Elite and stuff, but it's not on the list. But these guys right here, I just absolutely love everything about them. I was pretty much blown away by the price for what we got. We got full on Flyknit, like real Flyknit, not super stretchy Flyknit or anything like that. It was actually containing Flyknit for the most part for most people. And then we had this max zoom unit, and it was articulated in the 4-foot. Unfortunately, the little tendril right there that connected the 2 bags would pop on people. Not pop, but like break. I thought that these were dope. I loved that he was a warrior. Like, it was weird that in free agency a player actually wanted to come here because nobody ever wanted to before we started winning, which that's why people don't like him. It was like you could have gone anywhere and done anything, played with anybody, but instead you went to a team that didn't need you. For what it's worth, I thought that this shoe was just fantastic. Super comfortable. I haven't worn this pair, probably never will. This is actually part of my little stash of that year's run of shoes. Like, I have like the Iguodala PE, the Draymond PE, the Steph, the Clay, all that stuff, and then the KD. So this was that little championship run.
Number 2, we have the KD12.
I love these. I love them. I think that they're weird looking, especially from that toe down view, like super elfish in the way that it like swoops away from your foot.
I think it looks better in that colorway.
This colorway is gorgeous, man. I'm so glad that I copped these. Shout out to David. His name is David, but his online name is DG Hoops. He actually hit me up, or maybe it was I hit him up, because he got the 90s kid colorway and he put it on Instagram. And I was like, oh, those are fire. And then all of a sudden he was like, yeah, did you see that they had the red colorway over at Hibbett's? And I was like, no, I didn't, because like that was the one that I wanted. And so I went over to hibbettsports.com, grabbed these real quick because I saw that they didn't release anywhere else, like in store. Like, they seem to have disappeared from shelves and stock rooms. And so I was like, something's going on here. So I bought these, selected 1-day shipping so they couldn't cancel my order. And so that they have to like rush it out and everything like that. And then all of a sudden we found out that these were recalled for some reason. I don't know if it was from like something yellowing or something being put together improperly or something like that. I got a good pair, so I'm happy. But yeah, you should see these available at Nike factory stores soon, because that's what happens when they recall shoes. They will still release them because they're going to make their money. They'll just release them as a B grade and all that stuff. I think that these are great though, man. Like, this was one of the few times when like the translucent was great rubber. Like, these things stick really well. The cushion is amazing. These are fantastic. The quad axial flywire is crazy. The overall fit, almost suffocating, but I love it. The KD9 was the last one that I really liked, and now this is the 12. It took a while to come back around, but it was worth it, I think.
And your top pick is the KD7.
A shoe that I wish I still had. I don't like keeping all of these shoes because I feel like a glutton. It's like, why does one guy with 2 feet have hundreds of sneakers, right? Like, it's a dream come true, but it's not practical, and you feel like a selfish prick. And so I get rid of a lot of my shoes. I keep the ones that are the most sentimental to me back there. And then the ones that I definitely wear, which are upstairs, and those are the ones that I like to keep. This shoe, I do definitely wish that I kept it because it's a fantastic shoe. It's a fantastic performer. The traction on that shoe is fantastic. The fit on that shoe is fantastic. The forefoot zoom is fantastic. The heel didn't have an air unit. It had a max zoom unit. I fucking love that shoe, and it had foam posit on it. Remember that big heel on the back? And that was actually our son's favorite sneaker for like ever. We're all mesh, super flexible. He had them from like size like 5 to 7 or something like that, or to 8, like whatever it was. He had them in every color. It was great for him to like walk around, because like our daughter, like I made her wear J's when she was young, and those things are like little blocks of wood, and so she can't move, so she's watching her try to walk is hella funny. But yeah, I think that the KD7 is awesome. That shoe, I can't remember what those retailed for. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. Hold on. Oh look, we're the first ones. 150. 150. Interesting. I like doing these. I can reflect back on things that I've totally forgot. But yeah, so if I'm looking at my scorecard right now, I rated the traction a 9 out of 10. This is when we still did numbers. Cushion was 9 out of 10. Materials 9 out of 10. Fit 9 out of 10. We had ventilation as a point at that point. I gotta actually count them because I used symbols. People were mad at that, so I had to change that eventually. 6.5 out of 10. Support was a 8.5 out of 10. Overall 8.5 out of 10. That's a great score. What a good shoe that is. Good job, Leo Chang. Oh, I was involved in that shoe. Remember that?
Oh, no wonder you love it so much.
It's not because of that. I just remembered actually the marketing for that, the unveil or whatever. They had done like this thing where they like had me go on a webcam with them, talk to some like people that I didn't know about Leo Chang and his designs and the KD line and this, that, and the other. And then there was this big like live stream thing on YouTube, like that was like the presentation of the shoe. The thing that separates KD's brand from other brands is KD himself. He's very down to earth, very approachable, and relatable. So I think that really has bigger meaning for a lot of the people that are after his product because they are actually fans of his. I've gone through some cool things doing this. It's been pretty awesome, I gotta say. But anyways, that's pretty much it for my ranking of the KD Signature series. I think that the series has gotten a hit or miss. I don't think that it's as great as the Kobe line. The Kobe line I feel is very consistent. The KD line has had its share of what I find to be flops and then some really great performance models like this guy right over here. This is one of the best shoes of the year so far, so that's awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the support. Let me know what you guys think about the KD line down below in the comment section. Be sure to rank yours as well, performance-wise preferably. If you haven't played in them all, I understand. Rate them from ugliest to best looking or whatever, like aesthetically and all that stuff, because I would like to know your guys' thoughts. Thank you once again. Thanks for, Mrs. Wing for making me do this because I didn't want to, and that's pretty much it. So until next time, guys, have a good one.